disclaimer. Despite some of Richard Kuklinski's story being verified by authorities, some aspects of this case are highly speculative. Whether or not he killed over 100 people, or that his mob affiliation is true, remains a subject of debate. I am in no way claiming that this story is completely factual. This case is based solely on the confession of a prolific liar and convicted murderer. What you choose to believe of this story is entirely the perception of you, the viewer. I am simply telling the story as it was allegedly claimed. If you would like to learn more, I encourage you to do your own research into this case. There's an unlimited amount of information to be absorbed on Richard Kuklinski. Thank you for listening, and on with the show. In the tranquil suburban landscape of New Jersey, Richard Kuklinski presented the facade of a devoted family man to his loved ones and neighbors. However, beneath this veneer lurked a sinister secret. To his victims, he was the cold-blooded killer known as the Iceman. How Richard Kuklinski's tough early life led him towards a criminal path. Richard Kuklinski, born on April 11, 1935 in Jersey City, experienced a tumultuous upbringing with an abusive, alcoholic father and a strict, religious mother who both subjected him to frequent physical punishment. Tragically, his father's brutal beatings led to the death of Kuklinski's older brother, who was reported to have fallen down the stairs. Kuklinski internalized the violence he endured and inflicted it upon the world around him. He tormented and killed neighborhood cats and stray dogs. At the age of 14, he dropped out of school in the 8th grade, and that same year fatally assaulted the local bully. The once solitary youth transformed into a towering figure, reaching a colossal height of 6 feet, 5 inches, and a formidable weight of nearly 300 pounds. Subsequently, in the 1950s, it is alleged that Richard Kuklinski became associated with the Mafia. Kuklinski's unwavering composure under a brutal beating from Roy DeMeo's men supposedly impressed the hardened mobster. DeMeo subsequently recruited him as an associate once Kuklinski settled his debt. Kuklinski's versatility in criminal activities, including illegal pornography trafficking, robberies, and intimidation, earned him the respect of the DeMeo crew. His ability to resolve difficult situations and consistently generate income for the organization allegedly caught the attention of the Gambino crime family, which DeMeo belonged to. This marked a turning point for Kuklinski, who transitioned from a recreational killer to a professional one. Richard Kuklinski's reputation soared within the organized crime underworld, catching the attention of the infamous De Cavalcante family. They commissioned him for his first significant gang assassination. With unwavering dedication, Kuklinski embraced his new role, engaging in extrajudicial killings for both research and personal gratification. From 1954 onward, he made frequent trips from New Jersey to New York City, prowling Manhattan's Upper West Side for victims. His targets often included individuals who had wronged him in minor ways or simply annoyed him. At other times, he killed indiscriminately for the sheer thrill. Kuklinski's methods were as diverse as his victim selection. He employed a range of weapons, including firearms, knives, strangulation, poison, and blunt force, based on his whims. This variability prevented law enforcement from connecting the spate of deaths to a single perpetrator. As per a declaration made by Richard Kuklinski, his preferred method involved using a nasal spray bottle filled with cyanide. Kuklinski persisted in executing tasks for DeMeo and the Gambinos, and his unwavering readiness to kill without a second thought unsettled even his fellow criminals, who started to call him the devil incarnate. Richard Kuklinski adhered to 2 strict rules. He never targeted women or children. Everything else was within his purview. In one particular instance, Kuklinski remembered a man pleading for his life. Kuklinski granted the man 30 minutes to pray to God, hoping for divine intervention. However, when no help arrived and the circumstances remained unchanged, Kuklinski proceeded with the act. He later admitted, "It wasn't too nice. That's one thing. I shouldn't have done that one. I shouldn't have done it that way," expressing a rare sense of regret for his actions. The Iceman's elusive tactics, a master of disguise and evasion, removing fingers and teeth from victims to hinder identification, melting bodies in oil drums, placing them in junkyard cars for crushing, or discarding them in the Hudson River or mine shafts, storing victims' bodies in industrial freezers and disposing of them months or years later, making them appear recently killed and diverting suspicion from Kuklinski. These tactics earned him the moniker, the Iceman. Initially, police attributed the killings to homeless individuals, unaware of Kuklinski's involvement. Even his family remained oblivious to his sinister activities. The apparent normalcy of Richard Kuklinski's family life. In 1961, Richard Kuklinski exchanged vows with Barbara Pedrici. Unbeknownst to her, her new husband, who was also known as the Iceman killer, had reportedly already taken the lives of approximately 65 individuals. Together, they welcomed 3 children into the world. To their neighbors in suburban New Jersey, they presented the image of an idyllic all-American family. Their lifestyle was one of affluence. Their children received an education at prestigious private institutions. The family entertained guests at backyard barbecues held by their swimming pool and embarked on festive trips to Disneyland. Each Sunday, Kuklinski served as an usher at the morning mass. Upon the police's eventual apprehension of him, Barbara remained unaware of the specific legal transgression her husband had committed. Despite being aware of his temperamental nature, Barbara was unaware of the extent of Richard Kuklinski's violence. During his bad days, he became abusive, inflicting severe physical harm on her, including a broken nose. Kuklinski's aggression always left visible bruises. Barbara described his behavior as way beyond anger and sick. However, she maintained that she had no knowledge of his involvement in murder. "Maybe I was naive," she admitted, "because I never witnessed anything like that, and my family never engaged in such behavior." For a quarter of a century, Richard Kuklinski maintained the appearance of a devoted family man by meticulously separating his life into distinct compartments. He never disclosed any information about his personal life, family, or residence to the criminals he worked with. He refrained from socializing outside of work. Kuklinski abstained from drugs and prostitution, and he never purchased what the mob offered. He was an employee, not a customer. However, in the 1980s, after 25 years of allegedly working as a hitman for the Mafia, Kuklinski decided to establish his own criminal enterprise, which led to a series of errors. His downfall can be attributed to Phil Solimene, a local Mafia figure and the closest thing Richard Kuklinski had to a friend. Solimene collaborated with the ATF in a sting operation and introduced a TF agent, Dominic Polifrone, to Kuklinski as a potential client. Polifrone approached Kuklinski with a job offer and then recorded Kuklinski's agreement to commit murder in exchange for money. This marked the end of the road for the Notorious Iceman. In 1986, Richard and Barbara Kuklinski were apprehended by unmarked vehicles as they headed to breakfast. Officers brandished weapons at them, and lead investigator Pat Kane informed a bewildered Barbara, "He's a murderer." The following day, Kuklinski was charged with 5 murders, and in 1988, he was convicted of 4. Subsequently, he was convicted of 2 additional murders, resulting in consecutive life sentences. Kuklinski was subsequently linked to a string of additional crimes, including the 1980 murder of NYPD detective Peter Calabro in Upper Saddle River, New Jersey. In 2001, Kuklinski confessed to the crime, alleging that he had been instructed to do so by Gambino family underboss Sammy the Bull Gravano. However, Gravano denied the accusation, claiming it was a fabrication. Detective Pat Kane estimated that the Iceman killer had murdered as many as 300 individuals, stating, "He killed who he wanted whenever he wanted." Following his apprehension, Richard Kuklinski exhibited remarkable candor. He willingly engaged in interviews with prosecutors, psychiatrists, journalists, criminologists, and newscasters, sharing his perspectives with anyone who sought his insights. Richard Kuklinski, known as the Iceman Killer, participated in 2 documentaries about his life, providing candid accounts of his actions and motivations. He confessed to supposedly murdering the notorious corrupt figure Jimmy Hoffa, for which he received $40,000. In a prison interview, Kuklinski expressed no remorse for his crimes, except for the pain he caused his family. He expressed a desire for their forgiveness. After 25 years of imprisonment, Kuklinski's health declined. Diagnosed with an incurable condition, he was transferred to a hospital. During a moment of lucidity, he requested medical intervention if his heart stopped. However, his wife, Barbara, signed a do not resuscitate order. A week before his death, the hospital contacted her to confirm her decision, which she did not change. The notorious Iceman Richard Kuklinski passed away on March 5, 2006. Conclusion. Leading a double life as a killer is a complex and dangerous situation. It is important to seek help from a qualified professional if you are struggling with thoughts or feelings that are putting your safety or the safety of others at risk. There are many reasons why someone might lead a double life as a killer. Some people may have a mental illness that leads them to experience violent thoughts or urges. Others may have been traumatized in the past and are using violence as a way to cope with their pain. Still others may simply be driven by a desire for power or control. Whatever the reason, leading a double life as a killer is a dangerous and unsustainable path. It is likely to lead to pain and suffering for both the killer and their victims. If you are struggling with thoughts or feelings that are putting your safety or the safety of others at risk, please seek help from a qualified professional. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Killer Cliff Notes, and I'll see you in the next one.